Paul.
Damien, how are you?
Tim.
Hi Damien.
How are you?
All good.
Place looks great, doesn't it?
Absolutely fantastic.
We go and have a closer look?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm joined by Tim Murphy, chairperson of Munster GAA, and Cathal O'Neill from the Limerick Senior Hurling team. Tim, it's an unbelievable place. A lot of work has gone in here and it's not stopping just yet.
No, absolutely Damien. It's a credit to Limerick what we have here now. We've a new stand, 4 changing rooms, a gym, and there are plans to do additional work as well. So from a Munster GAA perspective, there's 1.1 million has been invested into this facility alone, and there's a further 1.2 million going to be spent and going to be invested by Munster here in Mick Neville Park as well, in terms of pitches, upgrading lights, etc. So it's an absolute credit to Limerick GAA, and I suppose as a provincial council it's great that we can reinvest the money that is generated throughout the province.
Yeah, and even from a player's point of view, I was chatting to Tim earlier and the further plans about the new 4G pitch or the new sand-based pitch. That gives us options maybe if there's too much traffic on this pitch and the pitch needs a rest, that we can go to the 4G or whatever it is. So no, look, it's excellent from a player's point of view as well.
Just with the stand here in front of us then as well, Tim, that's pretty new as well. Does the work ever stop? Like, how do you prioritise what's needed from venue to venue?
Yeah, I think what we have here is roughly a 500-seater stand, Damien, and I suppose the idea that Limerick had at the time was that this would become the fulcrum of a training base, but it would also be able to facilitate matches. So it effectively is a second county ground for Limerick after the Gaelic grounds. And again, this is an ongoing plan that Limerick have, the stand, the 4 changing rooms. There are plans to extend that over the next number of years, as well as the facilities in terms of pitches, lighting, and the AstroTurf. So I suppose from a provincial council point of view, it's great that we are able to reinvest the money that's generated through the Munster Hurling and Football Championships back to the provinces. I think it's something like 82 cents out of every euro that's generated goes back to the counties and to clubs. And in Munster we're lucky because of the Munster Hurling Championship in particular. We're able to give proportionately an awful lot more money back maybe than other provinces are, because of just the nature of the Munster.
Because of the matches that you play in, I suppose.
Absolutely.
You're there in front of crowds of 40,000-50,000 people, Carl. It's all about winning the game, but when you sit back and think about it, I suppose you can see where the trail goes back to.
Yeah, 100%. And this facility will be here for years to come. So kids going to matches now at 10, 12, 14 years of age, whatever it is, can look forward to maybe training here in a few years' time.
I suppose for the level of preparation then that you guys put in, it's great for counties to have their own centres of excellence to lift all standards, I guess, for all teams coming up.
Yeah, 100%. It's lovely to have a base, I suppose, to have for months of the year. And looking at the stand there in the gym, it's even somewhere to put maybe a camera for training or whatever it is high up. It's just small things like that that make a massive difference to elite setups.
Just a final thing then, Tim, I suppose the standard of inter-county GAA has gone through the roof in the last 10 years. Is the council and councils around the country trying to keep a pace with that and trying to match the levels of commitment put in by volunteers and players?
Absolutely. I think, Damien, the player is the single most important person in the whole association, and always should be. And as administrators, be it at club, county or provincial or even national level, I suppose it's incumbent on us to make sure that we can generate the maximum amount of revenue to reinvest that into the facilities, to give players the best chances of performing on the field, and that's working, Damien. We're lucky. We're so lucky. We were chatting earlier, Colin and myself, about the Munster Hurling Championship. We're so fortunate that it is so competitive year after year after year. And I think in terms of Gaelic football, the new rules have transformed that as well. So there's a renewed interest in that as well. So I think the future is very bright. And like I say, from a Munster perspective, we're delighted to be able to reinvest back into counties and indeed to clubs as well. We won't forget the clubs, because there's a big investment on the part of the council.
How important is it from a player's perspective to have a facility like this?
Yeah, so we moved in January, I think, this year, and we were always in Rathkeale, but I think the new dressing room and the new gym in particular has made a big impact, big difference to us. Anyways, I suppose just coming in when the cold dark evenings in January and February, it's nice to have a place like this to set up. We see other counties around the country have really good setups, so now we're kind of starting to catch up in that regard, I think.
It's a fine line between maybe having a place that is a base and then a place that maybe has improved facilities, and you've seen both over the years, but no harm to have a bit of grounding with maybe the old facilities, and no harm then to have more scope to do more stuff with the new ones.
Yeah, 100%. And I think like we're always training on that pitch outside, like, so it's good to have memories and of the hard train or whatever it is in December and January and February. And then after that, then you kind of go into the Gaelic grounds when the ground hardens up. So it's just nice to have, you know, that kind of block of work done in a tough environment to kind of steel you for championship, I suppose.
How hard is it to fit the level of training into your daily life, and maybe that a place like this is fairly accessible for everybody?
Yeah, I think Rakiel is very central in terms of, you know, we have a lot of lads maybe from around the county, not just in the city. So it's very accessible really, bar maybe going through there. The traffic could be cut off sometimes, but not other than that. I think lads really enjoy, you know, the different side of maybe going to the Gaelic grounds and going to Rakiel. I think it's nice to change it up, nice to freshen things up, I think, from each time of year.
Have you spoken to any maybe friends from other sports? Maybe Limerick's a big rugby town as well, and you know, even though it's an amateur organisation, like it's very much professional in terms of its approach and its development of players.
Yeah, like I go to college there in UL, so you'd see boys training there in Maguire's or whatever it is, and the gym in UL, like, and it's, you know what I mean. There's not that much difference really in the training facilities, which is mad when you think about it. But it just goes to show that the levels are going up and up every year, and the standards have been driven, and that's just the way it's going to keep going.
Just from the last few years where you've burst onto the Limerick senior hurling team now, it does take a time to crack onto that team, but you have managed it. Just with the crowds and the atmosphere and the occasions that are Munster Championship hurling matches now, was it everything you thought it would be?
Yeah, it probably is, and more, because, you know, growing up, maybe Limerick weren't as successful, or maybe weren't getting as much support as they are now. And the introduction of their own Robin maybe has brought even more crowds. So like, I think it's even gone a step higher than expectations growing up as a kid. So yeah.
And for young kids coming then watching from the stands or the terraces, with their clubs or schools to get a chance to play games out here, you know, does that kind of give them a pathway that looks to be realistic, that they can get to where you are?
I think so, yeah. And even the fact that young kids are training in or playing matches in Mick Neville Park, and then the seniors are also training there, you know, it kind of just creates that bit of a link, you know, that they're not maybe that far away or whatever it is.
Do you speak to anybody, say, in your family or maybe your relations or people from your club about the way it used to be and the facilities that are here now? I'd say it's night and day, even in the space of 10 years, maybe 15 years, compared to what it was.
Yeah, I'd say it's crazy, really. Even just the time invested nowadays, that we're probably training 5 times a week with the 2 gym sessions. I'd say before, you know, you're probably rocking up once or twice a week, and you just be straight into it. No, no warm-ups or anything like that. You're going straight into it. So it is mad, yeah. Talking to maybe the older generation, and seeing their training, even hearing about Durlock Nan's training and stuff like that, running up hills and stuff like that. It's just different.
And do they be quick to really point out how lucky you guys are, but at the same time the amount of work that you're putting in has probably never been seen before too?
Yeah, there's probably 2 sides to this fade. There's probably the hardship of the hills, and then maybe the science nowadays that, you know, probably getting the most out of our bodies nowadays, I think, yeah.
Tim, I suppose looking back, it was another successful year for Munster GAA, and 2 teams winning the senior inter-counties. Good championship in the hurling, and I suppose, are you happy enough with the whole thing?
Absolutely, Damien. I think, look, over the last number of weeks has been really busy for everyone. But to have the Liam McCarthy and the Sam Maguire back in the province is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, from a hurling and a football perspective this year, it's been, you know, a great year for Munster. Yeah. And of course Tipperary have the under-20, and Waterford have the minor hurling title as well. So, you know, it's all positive.
The Munster Senior Hurling Championship, I suppose, continues to light the way. I know last year the ticket prices went up by €10 per ticket, Tim, but like in terms of that money and where it goes, I suppose it's important that people know that it does go back to grassroots and units as well.
Absolutely, and there was a conscious decision made, I mean, at the time. You know, we were very much aware that around the ticket price sensitivity, but at the end of the day, as a council, and I suppose as an association, we have an obligation to the counties and the clubs as well to do the best we can for them as well. So, like, all the revenue that we generate is repatriated out to counties and clubs in as far as we can, and as an association, I think 82 cents out of every euro is redistributed back to counties and to clubs. And today we're here in Mick Neville Park in Limerick, and we see the facilities firsthand of where that money is being reinvested. It's being reinvested into counties with the likes of this centre of excellence here in Limerick, but it's also been invested in clubs and capital projects that they're carrying out. So, from a Munster Council perspective, that's what we do, Damien. We target counties, assist them in every way possible in bringing their facilities up to the best possible standards.
And I suppose centres of excellence, they're required by every county now. How hard are they to get off the ground, Tim, and what role do the provincial councils play?
Yeah, they're actually difficult to get off the ground, Damien, and that has been the sense that's not only in Munster but throughout the country. But I think here in our province, we're pretty well served. There's been quite a lot of development over the last number of years, and we're continuing to, I suppose, one ambition the council has is that we'll have at least one artificial pitch in each of the 6 Munster counties in the next number of years. And to that end, I suppose, there's a fund that's developed, specifically a ring fence for capital infrastructure developments in each of the counties, and over just about 1.2 million, I think, is the actual figure that we can confidently commit to each county for the next number of years.
Would that be enough to get those projects installed in? Because they are really...
I think they are. Like, you're looking probably at anywhere between 1 and 1.5 million for an artificial pitch, Damien. So that level of funding from Munster is quite substantial in that regard. That coupled in with obviously county fundraising and other potential grant aid from sports capital, I think we will succeed in that ambition. All right, yeah.
With Kieran Eddy made a point in his report with the municipal facilities that could happen more and more as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that he was making the point that for what the GAA kind of gives back to the community and economy, that they need all the help they can get as well for facilities like what we've seen in Fethard and Tipperary, for example.
Oh no, absolutely. And I think that model of municipal facilities, Damien, it's an important one that we continue to explore that. And as an association, I suppose historically, the GAA has developed its own facilities independently, but there's lots of new social phenomena like demographics, etc., that are, I suppose, having an impact on populations and people living in urban Ireland now more so than rural Ireland.
Here in Rathkeale, Tim, you're looking around, there's pitches everywhere, you've got floodlights, you've got dressing rooms, a new gymnasium in here and stuff like that, a new roof over the stand and a new stand as well. Is it important to have an overall vision but to work gradually to get there? That you never stop developing?
I think so, Damien, and I suppose what we do in Munster is we support each county board individually. So in Limerick's case, they obviously had a vision to develop the centre here in Rathkeale. The stand, the dressing rooms, the gym is all part of that, and we kind of support that. So, and similarly with the other counties in the province, we'll work with them in as far as we can as well, and give as much financial support and other support as well, Damien, in as far as we can. So, it's constantly evolving, it's constantly changing, and the bar constantly rising as well, I suppose, in terms of what the expectations are by players. And it's important for us. I always feel that the player is the single most important person in the association. It's important for us as administrators to give them the best possible chance of success.